Adventures of Sonic Episode 21. Sonic gets thrashed. Why bother having a name like that in a show that probably won't have the guts to get Sonic legitimately injured? Logically, this would be about him getting beaten up by a genuine threat and hurt the whole episode so Tails can be useful instead. But that'll never happen, so that's a misleading title. I miss STC Online where Tails was competent and got the spotlight. We see a billboard about a Robotnik resort with Robotnik skiing on the water, being oddly proactive. Robotnik is starting a vacation paradise called Club Robotnik to lure his citizens to the place to become his slaves forever. Okay, if this was a really good show, this plan would actually fucking work. And this would be the start of Robotropolis. He doesn't necessarily need to roboticize them, that can set the show apart by not doing that. But just have him succeed in that one plan, and he'd become a bigger threat that Sonic has a lot more reason to take down. And we get to actually see what him being a ruler would be like. But no, I'm sure this show would never have any guts, and Sonic will foil his plan. Sonic finds a fire-spewing robot in the junkyard that, oh, it's a Wallace guy that's talking with the lame voice, never mind. The robot was an invention of Robotnik's, and he talks with an extremely stereotypical nerd voice and tells the robot not to hurt Sonic. Why does almost every single OC in the show have to have an annoying voice making me want to throw him out of the show right away? He says that the robot was supposed to be a flamethrower super weapon, but he's defective because he has a temper. He's a super weapon. Why would that be a problem and not just spur him to do better? I guess it's because he had a temper and he lashed out at Robotnik, but that's not explained. None of his inventions work right, and that's why he's in the junkyard. And when he's called out on that, Wallace gets mad at him. I like that Tails trembles at the robot and goes to follow Sonic. They all find a village of robots that Robotnik abandoned for being defective. One of the robots can only make lousy weather, causing Tails to shiver from the cold. How is that defective? Wouldn't Robotnik want that because he'd use that against the heroes? One of them runs into a wall, and another one runs after a robot holding a frying pan up, which happens every day. He was made to be Robotnik's personal chef, but he was fired because he sucks at his job. I love this village already! I bet we'll never see it again past this episode. I'm harping on this because it's a huge problem. The show's lack of gussiness and proper continuity was holding it back, comedy show or not. And even if we get continuity, that's only one part of the problem. Sonic and Tails hide behind colorful bushes and find Robotnik's blimp. Sonic tells Tails to stand back since he's useless, and he runs around a loop-de-loop that's there for no reason other than to get him on top of the blimp. If Tails was written well, he would have invented an invention to get Sonic on top of the blimp his way. I'd be equally happy if Tails was a mage with kitsune powers though. Sonic fools Grounder as a pizza delivery boy, even though he shouldn't have that disguise at all, and neither of these robots question— oh finally they question why someone's delivering pizza to a blimp. They didn't even order any pizza, why did they take so long to question it? Sonic uses a lever to send them down a trapdoor that shouldn't have ever been installed in the blimp. But for once Robotnik is a threat by having him restrained to a wall. There's a reason that I slip up and call him Eggman a lot more in this show. Because he's barely ever a threat. He brags about making Robotnik Lagoon, and Robotnik is completely dismissive of the robot village because it's made of defective robots that— wait a minute, why didn't he scrap those robots for spare metal instead of letting them escape? The whole plot with the robot village never should have happened because it's not established that the robots all ran away from Robotnik or Scratch and Grounder when he was trying to destroy them. Sonic lies to Grounder that a bee is in the room, and while Grounder doubts him, eventually he starts swatting at air with a fly swatter he apparently has, because bees are small, so he assumes that it's there, and he eventually hits the button releasing Sonic. Every time this happens, it feels like a Deus Ex Machina. I don't buy that these robots would be that gullible. That kind of bad programming would have been fixed immediately. Sonic runs out of the blimp, but rather than falling to his death like he logically should have, he managed to get to the top of the blimp defying gravity, with no indication that he jumped up there. Robotnik somehow climbs up to the top, and the robots come up there too. How? Robotnik threatens Sonic with a harpoon, while the robots try to tackle Sonic. But Sonic jumps away from the grisly fate and jumps off the blimp, which flies around with a hole in it. And then a giant robot with crab hands threatens the village, causing the insecure robots to run away instead of fighting. Sonic jumps away from it, saying he's not stupid, and the robots aren't happy that their homes are being damaged. Tails says that what's left of the village is a small cube. Huh? Huh? The robots predictably want to fight after all, with the temper of the flamethrower robot coming in handy because of that, and the weather robot sprays green gas to get through a door. How does that have to do with weather? Well, another robot uses a blowtorch, the chef puts down a bad cake, Sonic uses a tornado, and the nerd Waltz also does something. I love the sheer variety in what's being done. This is something that normally SATM has over the show, because in this show, usually Sonic just does all the work. Robotnik makes a speech about dedicating a resort to himself, and completely unrealistically, the crowd happily cheers for him instead of being annoyed at his arrogance and knowing that Robotnik's evil from him being world famous, logically. We aren't allowed to hear much of Robotnik's life story because fuck history and world building and character development. Instead, the screen shows Robotnik with a pig body and then the shower because hacking, I guess. Weirdly enough, people laugh at the latter too instead of being creeped out and averting their eyes right away. It's because kids show! Robotnik doesn't lose his temper, oddly enough. It just keeps trying to act happy and cheerful. Sonic insults him in a microphone, and some robots kidnap Scratch and Grounder, giving them a taste of their own medicine. Robotnik nervously tries to laugh off the jokes to his expense, and he can't cut the cake because it has snakes in it. Where'd he get those? He cuts the ribbon, and somehow that ends up collapsing what should have become Robotropolis and made him not a worthless, pathetic buffoon. He tells the crowd that he wants to turn them into slaves since Sonic had him bugged. How is it that him wanting to do this isn't already known by everyone on Mobius? Why is the crowd acting like this is a surprising revelation? Someone like Eggman would be world famous. Then he's not allowed to be competent again, as geysers of water spurt out everywhere since the water pipes were changed around by the robots. I know Robotnik's supposed to be a bad guy, so we shouldn't side with him, but we have the Wile E. Coyote problem where the heroes are so overpowered and smug and the villains are so pathetic that I can't find the victory satisfying. This would have felt great if the victory was pushed away to the finale of the show. Sonic says that what Robotnik thought was wrong with the robots was exactly what he needed, even though it only applies to them fighting Robotnik one time. I'm guessing they'll never fight Robotnik as heroes again, even though Wallace says he plans to make the robot village even better. The Sonic Says message is about recycling and reusing. Again, why have an environmental message like this and not base the whole show around it like it's SATM? Why isn't Robotnik polluting to be a proper threat? I enjoy the sheer variety in what its plans are because SATM has the pollution focus, but there should be more emphasis on what's supposed to be his entire character, from even the first Sonic game. Remember how he polluted Labyrinth Zone Act 4 and Chemical Plant Zone and Oil Ocean Zone? He's supposed to be a polluter. This episode was good, having the cool concept of a defective robot village in the soft Robotnik's plan, but once again, I see what could have been with the show and I'm disappointed. Robotnik should have been allowed to succeed in trapping those people in a city, because that would have made him a genuine threat because the rest of the show would have Sonic have an even bigger incentive to take him down. To free the people that he's actually regularly inconveniencing rather than just bothering Sonic most of the time and thus failing constantly. This major victory should have been pushed back to the finale. And we should have had the Robot Village be a regular location on the show that we see all the time, like Knothole. Getting to see tons of various defective robots that aren't really worthless just because they turned out differently from how their parent wanted. Like, these guys could have been a positive message towards respecting and accepting neurodiversity. They could have been freedom fighters. Granted, we only see defects in them and not positive results to be proud of on top of that, but I guess if that was the case, Robotnik would have kept them. Or not, because he's a jerk. Problem is, logically Robotnik should have destroyed all of them before they'd ever get the chance to make a village to themselves. since it's never established how they all escaped him. Even the title's a disappointment. Sonic doesn't get thrashed, so I call it that. A properly written villain has proper tension around him because he's a proper villain. That's what villains are supposed to do. They one-up the heroes, and then he one-ups them, and so on and so forth until the hero wins. It's equally matched, one blow after the other. Not a lopsided fight where the hero never even gets bruises. This is an exaggeration of how the games have it. Like Unleashed.